So whether you've been on my page or in the Metamorphosis community for like a few days or literally months or since we've been started, you know that I have two cats that I'm obsessed with, and they're obviously the cutest cats in the world. But what you don't probably know is that these cats came into my life like a fucking wrecking ball. And it came after I made a huge decision to take a trip that completely changed the trajectory of my business as well. And I'm going to tell you a bit about the story, the significance, and all the things. So there's going to be like some tangible stuff in here, but either way, there is a lot in here if you are someone who is feeling really pulled to build an empire-sized business. And like, I'm not just here to talk about my cats. I'm here to talk about like why they came in the way they did and how when you really align your life in your business intuitively, magic fucking happens, and they are just literally an example of that. So, as many of you also know, excuse me, we have the Metamorphosis Egypt retreat coming up literally, guys, in a month and like 10 days. That's actually insane. I'm freaking out. And this trip was sparked because I went on an Egypt trip last year, and since then I've had dreams, and the goddess Isis came like in my dream and was like, you're meant to host these retreats, let's go. And I literally did not feel ready, and I got the call to do it fucking now, so I fucking did it, and here we are. We're on the way. We literally have about half the spots full, and we just have a few spots left. But so when I booked the Egypt retreat that I went on in 2023, I was making a few $100s in my business. I booked the retreat in spring 2023. I was technically, about 6 months into business, but it actually was, there was a pivotal point in January 2023 when I actually count that as my business start date because I didn't understand what it took energetically. So I booked this Egypt retreat that came onto my path, and it was just so clear that I was meant to be there, and it was like a luxury retreat that was, literally designed for what I was feeling called to. And so the minute that I booked this, which I felt a lot of fear, but I knew I felt called there, and I made it fucking happen. I put it on my credit card. I was like, here we go. I sunk into debt for the first time, and I was like, holy shit. So long story short, I'm going to kind of like almost fast forward us to just the Egypt trip and then how the cats came to be. But so long story short, this trip up-leveled me the months leading up to it. So much happened. I can't even summarize it here. But that being said, I got to Egypt and cats were everywhere. I don't know if you guys, like, obviously you guys may know that Egyptians, especially ancient Egyptian society, like worships cats. And I had always said that I wanted a cat. I knew that my first animal would be a cat. And so I'm there and I'm just feeling like, oh, it's time for a cat. I'm like, it's so time. But more importantly, not even more importantly, but while I was there, this Egypt retreat literally opened the door for me claiming my path to serving light workers. So during this time, I'd been resisting it. I actually wrote an Instagram post really recently from when I posted this about that period of time when I was resisting it because I thought it felt too limiting. And so that was everything leading up to this retreat. I was like, oh, it's limiting. I'm kind of resisting the path that I was being, put on by the universe because my brain was like, oh, it's limiting. It's this and yada, yada, yada. So I'm on this retreat and I'm just having the most like life-changing epiphanies being in these spaces. My intuitive gifts are coming online. I'm like realizing that ancient Egypt was really similar to this like new paradigm that we're moving into and all of this crazy stuff. So the trip is just like out of this world. I was like nervous getting to the retreat. I remember like I didn't even like tell a lot of people about it. I told my parents about it months after I booked it. And I was like, yeah, I did this. And they were like, you're going to Egypt? What the fuck? I'd been keeping things so private at this point, but I remember, I think, kind of sharing with a friend that I was like a little anxious about getting to this retreat because it just felt so otherworldly, and it was just really inviting me into this like new iteration of myself where I knew the business I was building and all the things. And so I'm in Egypt, all these cats, I'm having all these epiphanies on like where I'm feeling called to lead. And when I get back from the Egypt retreat, I had 1 week left in Chicago, which is where I used to live before I moved to Austin, Texas. So this was like an actually crazy life-changing time of my life. I was also turning 30 within a few weeks of that, which, as you know, as some of you may know, when you turn 30, it's just such an initiation and like so much changes. And So I get back from this trip. I realize basically my biggest epiphanies in Egypt were not only all the cute cats running around. I'm literally looking at my cats as I'm talking about this, but I realized that I was feeling called to lead, not just be a transactional healing business, which I know that's not what you're meant for either. I was feeling called to lead in some way. This felt big, this felt scary, and I'd been feeling this call for like quite a minute. But regardless, Egypt helped me to sink into it, and I finally took the time to sit with my feelings and move into this path that I was feeling called to. So this was like literally, so I get back from Egypt like early mid-October. I move out of Austin a week later. I move out of Chicago. I move into Austin. This is all within 2 weeks of the trip. And then within that time was when I finally got the ping to sit with my feelings. I had this epiphany that the part of me that was saying it was limiting was actually a part of me that was scared of success. And so this is when the cats come in. I know you're like, okay, 6 minutes in, you're like, I thought this was about cats. But it is still, trust me. So I sink into this, so much fear comes up. And right when I get to Austin, at the same time as all of this, I'm feeling this crazy, like, I know you're going to know what I'm talking about, where you're just like, you feel it in your bones. Like I was just like, I'm ready for cats. The same thing happened recently with a car. I bought an electric car right before I moved down to Austin. And I just felt this like fucking ping. I was like, it's time for cats. I'm like, it's going to happen soon, I think. And so as I'm sinking in, these two, like, literally, these are my soul fucking cats. Like, literally, they look like yin and yang. Not only that, this is the detail I was been excited to share with you guys. I bought a white cat statue while I was in Egypt, and now I have a white cat. White cats are rare. First of all, he's also not like the type where they have the limitations with their vision. He like happens to just be this like cute little white cat that just doesn't have the issues that most white cats do. Now this is the significance and why I'm talking about the cats. They came in at a pivotal time in my life when I decided to step into leadership, and I started facing the tests that come along with that. I moved on a whim. You know, I'm listening to the universe. I booked that trip. I moved with just a few $1,000s in my bank account. Then I had my first multi-$1,000 month, all within a month of that. My cats sunk in at this time, like so much fucking magic. And the thing about animals is they will find you like right when you are up leveling. And what I realized is by having these cats in my life, Leo and Zeta, I haven't said their name yet. Oh my God. Leo and Zeta literally gave me so much purpose to keep pushing, because now I had something outside of myself that I was caring for. And they have been literally such a rock behind the scenes. I just shared a video about, you know, whenever I'm working, they're right with me. If I'm upstairs, they're upstairs. If I'm downstairs, they're downstairs. These cats like came in at the most synchronistic time. And not only that, I think this is such an outcome of when you listen to the synchronicities, you take the big bold moves, all this just like fucking magic happens. Like, because I took the big bold action to go to Egypt when I felt the call, even though it felt fucking ridiculous to pay $12,000 for a retreat, that's what my brain told me. That was the most life-changing retreat. I would have paid like $30,000 for that retreat with the information that I got out of that. The way that it transformed me, the way that just everything I learned by being in that magical land and having the support of the people I had that during that trip. Like one of my awesome, amazing mentors who has been with me for so long, and she's amazing. This is the fucking magic that happens when you go big. And just so you guys know, if you guys have been curious about Egypt, there are just a few spots left. I have been having calls with people, and the spots will fill up. I can like fucking feel all the souls about to jump in, and I know there's a few people on the fence right now. So these spots are going to fill up, so if you have been feeling the nudges, but regardless, Leo and Zeta have been such fucking rocks behind the scenes. I'm so grateful that I made these decisions, and just the most magical synchronicities have happened because of it in my life and my business. And as you guys know, this 2024 was like a year that didn't make sense. 2025 is going to be even crazier. So I love you guys. Thanks, Metamorphosis community.